You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's Reign After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Reign After Show.
Song never gets old. I love it so much. Hey everybody, we are here doing your favorite after show for Reign. This is episode 10, Sacrifice. Very, very deep, loving episode. I don't know, lots of things happened. I am your host, Keetin Marchi, and we have a full panel tonight and a special guest. I am so excited. First, I'm going to introduce our special guest, boys, because ladies first. So please introduce yourself, Latarsha Rose.
I'm Latarsha Rose. I am from Being Mary Jane.
Yes.
And I'm very happy to be at the desk.
You guys
feel very official.
You guys might also recognize her as Portia from The Hunger Games.
Yes,
so
especially now that I'm blonde.
Yes. So we are so happy to have you. She's a fellow Reign super fan. So thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
And who are our other two lovely co-hosts?
I am Weslynn. You might remember me from such things as last week's episode.
And I'm Svitek. I did miss one episode last week, but I've been consistent the other time.
Yeah,
so.
and he's out of the booth, guys.
Out of the
booth.
On the panel.
Official.
On the panel, I know. And just a quick shout out again to our other host, Fania Thomas, who will be with us in 2 more weeks, and also Jesse Wilson, who you can still watch on Sci-Fi's Opposite Worlds. So check him out, vote for him. I think he's kind of being portrayed as a villain right now. So
Is he? I haven't been watching. Have you been watching?
He broke some guy's leg.
What?
Yes.
What?
Our
In a
Jesse.
good way. In a
Our
good way.
Jesse broke.
Is there a good way to break someone's leg?
Yeah.
In a good way. Always in a good way.
Artistically.
Yes.
I'm gonna be a little scared when he gets back, but I don't know when that will be.
Is that show available online?
Yes, go watch it on sci-fi.com.
All right.
What show?
Right after the
Sci-Fi.
show.
It's called Opposite Worlds. It's a reality show.
Oh. And he really broke.
And he broke somebody's leg. Spoiler alert.
Oh,
Yeah,
I thought it was.
Episode 1 broke somebody's
What?
leg.
Oh my god, that's so awesome. All right, Jesse, keep going.
Again, sacrifices have to be made.
Sacrifices
Sometimes
have to
we
be
lose.
made.
We're right on topic. That's
Well,
awesome.
And before we jump in, we just want to give another shout out to all of our YouTubers.
Hey, YouTubers.
Yes, and the people who rate and comment on iTunes as well. Keep them coming. We love you guys, and we'll do our best to kind of keep the conversation going until next week's episode.
Specifically, I wanted to say thank you to Erin Markle. She pointed out that Diane did throw the poison at the wall in the episode when Catherine gave her the poison, and that it was, in fact, Clarissa that had poisoned Ailey. So last week we were just talking about how, oh yeah, Diane had poisoned Ailey. That's not the case. Thank you, Erin, on YouTube.
And it's Lola. Oh, so sorry we forgot Lola's name last week. So sorry.
We forgot the girl's name. So yeah, Lola, Greer, and Kenna. Thank you.
And may Ailey rest in peace.
Yes.
Poor Ailey.
Ailey, pour one out for her.
I'm feeling better today.
I know she added a great dynamic to the girls, but I feel like we're gonna get a new little lady.
I
soon.
actually feel like she
Ooh,
didn't add that much to the girls. I haven't really missed her, but I have missed her fashion style. I know. I missed her fashion sense, and that's why I'm glad that Keetin today has dressed very Ailey-esque.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Let's just jump into this episode.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's
Get in
get
there.
started. All right, so we start with Bash and Mary, right? And they're talking
Mash.
about Bash,
Hashtag mashers.
right? Well, we didn't see Francis at all this episode.
I missed Francis.
Yeah, it was. I actually didn't. But and YouTubers, I know that you guys are Team Francis.
Really?
As is history. So.
What are you team?
Yeah,
Whose
what are
team
you
are you
team?
on?
I just like the triangle. I like the back and forth of
Like
it.
yeah.
Your
I
team
do like
drama.
Frances.
Team drama.
I'm Team Mary.
Right?
Yes.
Except when she annoys me, but, other than that, we'll
That's
talk
pretty
about
few
that
and
right
far
now.
between, and and it's usually like she annoys like halfway through an episode, and then she redeems herself by the end,
absolutely.
right?
I'm upset at her specifically in tonight's episode because she goes right. They're having their conversation at the window and like, hey, it all kind of started with us and whatnot, and Francis just left. And you did this for him, and you loved him,
Yep.
and now he's lost. But great, he has his life.
Well, I think that's like she's dealing with the consolation prize, like she's like, all right, well, like I mean,
know about
well, you don't think so?
I don't know, actually. I think she really thinks about the power in the position. I think she says that she wants love, and that's been the focal point for her. But I think at the end of the day, she really is growing into the idea that she can't have love, and it really has to be about power and her country and her people.
And that has been kind of the overarching message of the show thus far, which is, love is not something for royalty.
Well, and I think this is what makes her and Catherine's relationship so interesting to me, and it just keeps getting even more interesting because I feel like Mary's taking on some Catherine characteristics a little bit, which I love. Because I felt like at the beginning of the season, Mary was a little like, oh, I don't really want to like step on anybody's toes, but now she is like, no, I have to I have to stay in control. I have to have the power, and she does it in a more noble way than Catherine does, in a more righteous way. But she's kind of a tough bitch.
She's kind of making it rain right now, is what she's doing.
Especially in the tower scene.
Right? Well, okay. So we start with Alec and Bash fighting. We find out that Alec is a bodyguard that was sent by Diane. That comes back a little bit later in the episode. All we really see with that, they fight. Mary gets in on it for a second, and then next we see Bash on the throne, and we see just how poorly it fits him. The crown is a little too heavy for him, I think, right now, and he has to, deliberate, or he has to make judgments for these people, and he's not taking it very seriously. And
Fans are loving Board Bash.
Board Bash, really?
Yeah, because he's sitting there all like, next.
I mean, okay, so I can totally get behind his personality right now on the throne. I can't get behind how he looks. We were making
He's
comments.
not hot when he wears those fancy
He's
clothes.
not hot. No, he's hot
Some
when he's
guys just
dirty.
need to grunge it up.
Yeah.
Keep him dirty.
Yeah,
And I
he
think
doesn't.
he's supposed to be a misfit right now.
That's true, exactly, and he's not supposed to that's all part of the thing. He's not supposed to be on the throne. Well, he gets more kingly as the episode goes on.
Absolutely.
So we see that this woman comes into the throne room. She's apparently robbed a house. She is pregnant with a fatherless child.
What did you guys think when you first saw Bash's face?
I
No,
thought
what about
they
the
were.
eyes? The
Yeah,
eyes.
exactly,
That was
back
more than
and
the
forth.
face.
Thank God for those eyes.
I was
I
like,
could get lost in those eyes every day.
I just knew that they were involved.
Yeah, there was definitely something. I honestly thought that I forgot her from like an earlier episode or something.
We were trying to figure out.
I was like, do I know her? And it's very clear that Bash does know her. And so he sends her to the jail, and right after that, a woman comes up and calls him a handsome bastard, and then tries to kill him.
Yeah.
that was the giveaway, though, was the bastard.
Yeah, she's like, what a handsome bastard. Here, let me stab you with my poison knife. Yeah, no,
like
she
a
tried to
little Spidey
spite
action.
Yeah, a little Spidey.
She was terrible.
my
See?
funny bone.
It's not funny.
Are you injured?
I'm injured. Don't tell
Jesse?
Catherine.
Was it Jesse?
Jesse broke. No, that hurt.
Jesse.
These are sharp
funny
edges.
bone.
We should like pad the edges of this box.
Right. Good call on was he injured? As that was the giveaway for the Queen in the Tower. So next up we see White Collar Prison. So this is what I imagine Martha
White-
Stewart was like.
Yes.
I really it was amazing to see Catherine basically just living it up, eating a tart while she basically
was in
lived
the
it up in the
tower.
tower. Yeah,
That is
was
very
in prison.
accurate to how when royals were imprisoned. When I lived in England, I went to the Tower of London many a times because I freaking love the Tower of London. And in a lot of the tours, they explain how when royals are imprisoned, a lot of the times they're obviously still in good favor with some people, so they do get to live kind of in jail, but in jail very lavishly.
They keep their jewels.
Yeah, no, yeah, they keep everything.
wardrobe.
They just bring it all in their little cell and they make it their little dorm room
Yep. That's
until they
actually
piss
accurate.
Mary off and.
Very
That's an
lavish.
accurate representation.
And
of
she
the dorm
could
room.
have lived like that. It was just that everyone was passing freely, and obviously the attempted murder.
Right? Well, and I kept thinking, like, if she would have been fine had she not just gone for everything. She was clearly taking advantage of Henry being gone, and
Well, I'm kind of slightly upset at Catherine because if you kind of know, right? She says, I don't attempt anything, I do something.
oh, I loved that line. Mary, sweet Mary, I don't attempt to do anything, I do it.
But like, remember in last episode when Mary said, he's thought of every plan, and Catherine figures out a bunch of these plans, but in this case, she only had one option, and there was no fail-safe. I would have figured out 10 different ways to make this happen. So okay, maybe it was a false one where like, okay, here they catch this person, then there's a commotion, and then boom, right from the right now everyone's dead.
Well,
That's what I would have done.
I actually was super impressed with, she had that one scene with Bash and the throne room in this episode. She had two things going on. Like, she had the first attempt, like she just tried to outright kill him, and then meanwhile there was the entire thing with the pregnancy too. She was
working two
going,
angles.
yeah, 2 angles in one scene. It was actually pretty cool.
But isn't it funny that if Mary would have never convinced Bash to actually get his butt in there and him, step up and do it rather than what is his name, Lord Hugo, to just do it, she would have been screwed. Like neither of her plans
Right.
would have worked. So it's like comes to a point where Mary, come on, just like maybe let Bash have like a day or just kind of little little warm up thing before you just throw him into the throne room in that
But they
outfit
can't
that
have a
looked
moment of
ridiculous on
weakness.
him. True story.
And we
True
also
story.
don't know how much time has passed since the last episode, because it's just all we know is that Henry's gone. I'm pretty sure he's in Rome right now, right, to make Bash legitimized, and so all we know is that he's gone. So that he could have been gone for a couple days, or it could be a couple weeks later. Mary cleans house. She's like, all right, all this. Shut it down, and so Catherine is now pastryless, and so
Let them eat cake.
right. So then we get a Bash and Mary scene, which I really enjoy. Bash and Mary, and I know that a lot of the YouTubers do as well. I think they play really well off each other, and I think that's why I like Bash more than Francis. Honestly, is I just think there's a little bit more chemistry there. Feel free to disagree.
I think from my ladies, and I'd love to hear
Yeah,
your
that's
take
true,
on
yeah.
it because fans have kind of been hearing our various takes
Yeah,
throughout.
right. They know us.
But for me, I think it's because Francis is a little bit more structured in his lifestyle. Mary is not, and Bash is certainly not. But I'd love to get your take on it.
Well, I think it reveals itself at the end of the episode. He's genuinely interested in her and cares for her, and also he hasn't grown up worrying about the power structure and the requirement to be a king. So he's really a man who is just really looking for love and can give his heart over. And he says it's going to be her, not country first.
He's a man, not a king. That's actually a
Right.
really good way of making the distinction. And Francis will always be a king first.
And that's true. Every man thus far has promised her that. Remember the Portuguese.
Gosh.
That guy.
But then even Francis, how as much as you want to believe him, how much can you actually believe him?
Exactly, because he is still so tied to his father's. Well, his father doesn't have an umbilical cord, but
And his mother, his father, his
Yes,
mother.
you're right.
They both got. There's strings everywhere. Everything comes with strings.
But
with
this is the
these
thing.
people.
Mary has said numerous times that she cannot marry for love. Yet, if she marries Bash, he wants to marry for love. So I think that's why they're not good for each other. She can't. She can't be a successful queen and keep her eyes kind of straight on the country, which is the sacrifice that royals have to make. you get all these pretty fancy clothes and you get to eat as much as you want, but
I don't know.
no, you can't focus on
But
love.
if he's that weak, she's just gonna run everything but still be with him.
But I think this is why I think
agrees.
Frances is better for Mary, even though Bash
No.
is so much hotter than Frances.
I have to
No.
just to put it in a different way. It's at the end of the episode, not to get ahead of ourselves. What Bash said is what Mary wants to hear, but not what she needs to hear.
Exactly. Thank you.
I think that's kind of the crux of it, because everybody wants to if I marry you, I'm going to marry you, and you're going to be my family, and I love you. But, that's not... She needs somebody that's going to be a ruler, because that's, unfortunately, tying back to the whole thing, royalty, you don't get love, because you have an entire country that's at stake with your marriage.
It's weakness.
So-
love is weakness
and
when
that's
you're
and that's the point she
royal
makes, too.
and in power.
That's the
I don't
point
know.
she makes
Or
right
it
before
could be a strength. I mean, I think what we need to do really is have reverse sister wives. I think she just should marry both.
Oh, actually, I think sister...
Yes!
Brother
Reverse.
husband.
Thank you.
Brother husband.
That one, it's called. I forget what it's called because
Brother
there's
husbands?
a certain rainforest where it occurs still, and we have to think about that.
Look that up.
All right,
It's husbandry. No, it's not husband. No,
No,
it's something else. It's
husbandry
different.
is like mating things.
Yeah, it's something else.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna look it up.
Please.
Trust me.
Try to find it, and if we don't find it, YouTubers, please leave comments, tweet
What
at
a lucky
us.
girl, man. If she got both of those,
I wouldn't complain. So now Bash and Mary, they're talking about the poisoned blade. Alec has a seeping wound, the first of many wounds that we see in this episode, and they put on a poultice, and we discover that the connection between Bash and this pregnant Isabel is that they're cousins, and that it's Bash's half uncle.
Bash's mother's half brother's daughter.
Yeah. So, thank you. Very well put. And so, again...
I practiced that.
That's what you were doing in the bathroom.
Yep.
All right. So, then that's basically this commercial break. We come back. Bash and Mary debate on what to do with preggers. And they... makeover time, maternity makeover.
This is where, again, in terms of Bash kind of becoming the man that he's supposed to be in terms of ruler, again, it's just Mary taking charge and no, this is what needs to happen.
Yeah.
And she comes up with that whole plan.
Well, and again, I think what we're seeing is, I don't know, he kind of goes along with what Mary wants, and I think it's just because she's more decisive and she's been doing this longer. I'm queen. We have to do this to make sure that everything kind of goes through.
I agree with you. She's been doing it longer, but I think she's been doing it. I think because she's been doing it for a long time, she's realized decisions have to be made fast, especially when it affects lives in that inner circle, and there's no time to really think.
That's you're
I think
totally
it's more
correct.
so a product of that than okay, she's that good at it.
And as we know, and as Catherine knows, Mary's not somebody you want to piss off. So Bash is very smart early on in their relationship.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's all right.
Happy wife, happy life.
and so this is a good time in this maternity makeover scene to mention Meredith Markworth Pollock, who is the costume designer.
Meredith.
Just knocking it out of the park. We love the dresses. Wasn't a huge fan of the golden weave, the wig, but it was funny.
It was, but I think it was meant to be.
It was meant to be awkward.
True. So she was right on point.
And that may be hair and makeup, because sometimes it depends which department takes on the hair or the wardrobe, but that's just a little...
And no, this is just a question. In your experience, how closely does hair and makeup work with the wardrobe department?
They actually consult often with the Hunger Games. It was definitely a collaborative effort from beginning to end. Hair, they each came with their vision of what they were looking for, and they sort of married them together. And I would go from one department. When I did the makeup task, we went to the hair department to see what their wigs would fit the whole design, and I think it sort of goes like that. And same with being Mary Jane. They said, "Oh, what are you wearing? Oh, your makeup, your hair is going to go." here and there.
Yeah.
But I think oftentimes it starts.
So you
with a
just kind of
wardrobe.
ping pong between the two. That's actually really cool, and especially on the Hunger Games, like where just the wardrobe.
You got to be somebody from the Capitol.
I got to wear Vivienne Westwood for the first time, and I literally was like, "Oh, she knows how to make a person feel special." Just everything. So anyway.
No, that's awesome. No,
Yeah,
please.
that was.
We will get more into your stories very, very
Yeah, I
soon.
couldn't go to the bathroom on my own though because of the nails. See, that's where
Okay. I don't
makeup
think I
takes over,
noticed
like
that,
departments take over, and you just have to live with it. You're like, oh, I need some. Now I understand why they have dressers.
Yeah. No.
They couldn't do certain things.
That totally makes sense. And so now we set. They leave the castle. The merry band of maternity people, and we get to now visit my favorite thing in the entire world, which is Catherine in jail. Honestly, she's never better than in this episode in terms of her just being. It's kind of like Loki and Thor, or it's like even Hannibal Lecter almost. Where she's
Clarice.
yeah, right. Hello, Kenna.
I'm not done or what did she say? I'm not done abusing you yet. Don't leave me.
Right. So we see her talking with Hugo. She was behind the two plots, and now she has a new plot: kill Bash and Isabel, make their bodies tell their story. And then the great line of Hugo going, she's like, "Oh, bring me food next time." She's like, "Next time I come, I'll bring you a crown." And I was like, "Yeah." And so the girls see the note being passed between the guards, and so they know what's up. And
In terms of this story, in terms of the guard and Catherine specifically, what I like is that it's being reiterated that the notion of if a bastard takes over, well, what's the point of lineage?
That's super important.
And I really like that aspect that they're tying it in and reinforcing every chance they get.
Yeah, it's like this has such repercussions outside, so it's very easy for people to align themselves with Catherine because if this can happen, then anything can happen.
Are you kidding me? I mean, Catherine looks like the saint in this situation. She is the reigning queen who is being imprisoned because her husband's mistress bastard son decides he's gonna be king, and it's just poor Catherine. Like I say poor Catherine, but look at any other countries looking at this from the outside. Like nobody would be on Bash's side. Nobody.
That's true.
But even in the inner circle, what do you guys think? I mean, what choice did Mary really have? Logistically, if the whole point was you can't marry Francis, then the king needs me to do this,
Right.
to take control of France. So then, what option was there?
No, she didn't. But she didn't have an option. But that's the inner circle. Whoever's outside of that inner circle, I mean, Catherine looks like such a victim.
I agree.
I think go ahead.
No, please. No.
I think also it's set up at the end of the last episode when Catherine basically confronts her and she said, "This is the plight of a queen. You're a queen in favor, actually, because the king at any point in time can behead you and you can be out of power." And I think that sets it up for us to actually have empathy for her.
The point is that Catherine knows why Mary had to make this choice. They all know within the inner circle, but Keaton's right. Outside of that, nobody knows why all of a sudden the bastard, there's no really good reason that they could tell anyone.
Oh, he's the king's favorite son?
Yeah.
What does that hold?
Yeah, and so I'm sure Hugo doesn't know that, okay, so Francis is going to die, which also will throw the entire country up in upheaval, if we're going to be honest about
Francis
it.
has two little brothers.
Right. And
Yeah, but they're like little brothers.
But still,
Charles.
if it's all about lenient, if it's all
And
about
I think it also opens the
They've
door
also
for what other
completely forgotten.
bastards might be out there that aren't at the court.
Yeah, and they did say in a previous episode that it's happening all over Europe, that bastards are being legitimized. It's complete anarchy. But okay, so now we go back to Bash and Mary. He says, "I'm not the first bastard to grace my family." And then I was wondering if they were going to be giving, for some reason, the baby was going to go to the pagans. But as we soon find out, it has to do with the fact that they are actually part pagan. They're
a different sect.
Yeah, different sect, but all part of it. So right now we're switching between the two as we go forward. Catherine and the girls, which is the best part, the Clarice part.
Okay, can we talk about, just again, shout out to the costume designer. Those girls this episode.
Green dress.
So
red and black lace.
Oh, the red and black lace.
Beautiful. That green one, though.
The green just literally just
Greer. I was just like, I want that dress. It was so beautiful.
And
Kenna
jewelry.
looked beautiful, too.
Actually, Kenna, I felt like she was phoning it in this episode, like compared to the other girls. Like I can only kind of remember the bodice she was wearing.
I would agree.
They each have their own distinct styles.
Agreed.
And that's what, and I love how their character, kind of characteristics come through how they're dressed. I love when costume designers do that. Like Mary is like, we were saying this, like Mary's like the couture one. She's regal. She's the queen. Kenna's kind of hippie. She's more of a free spirit, bohemian. Greer is like the classic Disney princess who's gonna fall in love with the pauper. Like and then the romantic is Lola.
Yeah. Like Greer tries harder because she has to, because she doesn't have the title, and she kind of goes over the top, and that's the dress that you guys are mentioning. And I would just like to say that Catherine knows how to read those girls so hard. She's in prison, but the library is open. She's got her reading glasses on, and she just like down the line. She's like bam, 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 rapid fire, amazing. And I love how she calls Kenna stupid, and really calls them out.
It's so funny that she just is like she looks at Kenna, she's just like,
pretty bird.
and it's, what is it? What do they say in the South all the time? Like, bless your heart. She looks at Kenna, bless your heart.
Bless your heart.
At least you're pretty.
Yeah.
Bless your heart.
Yeah, and she even says, she's like, you're not smart enough for court. And this is a little bit later. What's happened in the woods is that the baby's coming. But I still just had so much more fun in the tower. That she goes, you're not smart enough for court. And this is when Kenna's sitting outside, and at that exact moment, we find out a little bit later, Kenna has an idea. And so Kenna gets up and leaves. Catherine goes, where are you going? I'm not done abusing you. And then now we're back in the Bloodwood, and we get...
What I like about this storyline, specifically with the pig, right? We saw kind of last time Bash was questioned about his sort of religion and his faith and all that. Remember the convenient cliff of death? But Mary doesn't know that side of him yet.
Yeah.
She's slowly...
Which I forgot.
She's slowly kind of entering this whole world. But again, there's ramifications that we have yet to see. And as their worlds get closer and closer together, again, that it's always going to be on the edge of...
A cliff.
Maybe. Let's hope he doesn't push Mary off.
Right? Well, we were joking last week because that one starts with them jumping off a cliff into the water, and and as soon as I saw them near a cliff, I was like, oh no. Look out, Mary.
Bash is gonna kill you. He's gonna kill you.
Get out the house.
Hide your kids, hide your wife.
Okay, so back to the Blood Forest. The pagans are here. Mary just like Mary goes full piñata. It's like a quinceañera for the girl, and she just destroys the. Which, by the way, when did Bash have time to create that entire? Like, it was like an effigy.
When she was taking care of the girl, Isabel, inside, they were like, we'll be back.
Suppose, it was during the day. Like, he made that quick.
They've done it before.
Yeah, that's true.
That's why they weren't scared about going to the Bloodwood. I'm surprised Mary didn't, like, throw up an even bigger fight about, like, I don't really know about going in here when she's about to pop.
Yeah, but they didn't really have a choice because they couldn't go through town because apparently there's only two directions in wherever they live.
Well, whenever you tell Mary no or you can't do something, she says, no, let's forge ahead.
Yeah,
it's not
that's
really
true. And so we see the necklace, the return of the necklace, and that was used to ward off the pagans. But Mary destroys it all. They come back in. The pagans are upon them, and so they circle the tent. They make a lot of sounds, and then it is revealed to Mary that Bash is at least tangentially, as far as she knows at that moment, he is a pagan. He explains it a little bit better later, but he's related to the pagans at this point. And she goes, "You're a pagan." He goes, "What I am is alive, and so are you." And he makes that point of, "I saved your life."
I loved that commentary on religion, and how even just how it is today, and how people are really
Ignorant.
they're very ignorant, and that idea that we're all alive, we are gods, and the way we think is just a little different.
Yep.
It's nice to see kind of the character Mary kind of click, because it's like, oh yeah.
And we forget what different religions have been through and what has occurred in terms of Catholics and Catholicism. I think that's interesting. We have a common good that we wish.
And everybody wants to fight. Everybody wants to die for their beliefs, and that's what I thought was very interesting. Is when he brought up, think of how many Catholics were burnt and killed, or martyred for believing in what they believe. That Bash is my people did the same thing. Who are you to throw stones?
And the point about Isabel and her father, and he was killed for this stuff, and it just made her that much stronger of a
believer.
And that was 15 years ago, so she was probably only 4 or 5, not even. She was probably 3 or 4.
She looked 14. She looked real little.
I know, that was the thing. They said 15 years ago, and I was like, 15. At this point in time, she should be having kids at 15. So, in that point in history.
Isn't that sad?
But
yeah. They were lucky to make it to 30. So, okay. So Bash explains the whole connection, and then the baby is born,
which I think was really an opportunity for us to really see. I think Mary then saw, oh well, the pagan baby is born just like a Catholic baby. So there was that. Oh, we are alike, and I think she let down her guard about the difference between the different religions.
Life is life.
Life is life.
And at this point, just like with sacrifice and stuff like this, there is a lot of blood in this episode as compared to other ones. With the horse head, and then obviously with
Hello, Godfather.
Isabel, right? Yeah,
And
totally
the birthing
Godfather.
and the hemorrhaging.
Yeah, there was a lot of blood, and then also at the end with the I think they really were able to encompass the message of the episode with what they were doing, and I thought there was going to be a weird thing because Isabel looked almost sad that it was a girl.
I
Did you notice
agree.
that?
I wasn't sure if that was another issue or concern that they were going to bring up.
Yeah, but they kind of didn't. It was just she was like, "Oh, how is he?" And she's like, "Oh, it's a she," and she was like.
Well, I think it's the idea of women had a harder life back in the day. They were property. They didn't hold any power.
That's
and besides somebody like Mary, but that's very, very unusual, and especially being kind of a peasant.
Yeah.
You would rather have a man. If you're a man, you have a much better chance of changing your stars.
And she also doesn't know the father's lost at this point as well. So honestly, two women faring for themselves in this world. That's totally
it's
fair.
also the end of her family's line.
Yep.
That was another thing. At the end of the day, I think it still really is. It's a really thing people really value.
Yeah, forgot about that. Okay, so now you've been quiet for a little bit. Do you have anything to add on these?
I definitely. Well, I want to talk about the ending.
Okay,
definitely.
so
he's waiting. He's like, I'll just take it off. I'll take over.
So we're almost there. Now we go to Lola and Catherine, which, by the way, Lola is
fierce.
She's super fierce this episode. I have mad respect for her, and they kind of lay everything on the table. Lola talks about how, oh yeah, you killed my boyfriend. And she's like, oh, and Catherine goes, oh, now you're bitter. And she's like, no, you're bitter. You did all this stuff for your son who's not here anymore. And so she presents her 2 letters. The first letter completely incriminates Catherine, rightly so, but is forged. And the second one throws a party for everyone in honor of Bash. And so
From Catherine.
So basically, one is essentially blackmail, and the other one is
happy mail.
I know,
it's not blackmail.
I know, it's true. They're both blackmail.
Don't you think the king would be able to see through that, though? I mean, the king knows Catherine.
But she makes the point of, even like with the dagger and this letter, the king is at least going to look into it, and one of those guards is gonna, break down.
And he told her if she does anything to
Yeah.
get in the way, her head.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, I feel like the king's gonna come back. He's gonna either like find out about this party that's going on. He's gonna be like, "What? Who ordered this?" He's gonna either get to see the
Oh, I
letter,
see.
or he's gonna confront Catherine and be like, "What do you have up your sleeve?" I think that's gonna. I think it would tip him off.
Yeah.
I don't know. The king is. Last episode, the king proved himself to be a
But-
lot smarter than I took him for.
Tipping him off to what the thing is that the girls and Mary, they have done nothing wrong. The thing is that even if it
No, not for Mary, but for Catherine. Like a reason to like just behead her, be done with it.
Oh yeah.
I feel like either let her, she's screwed.
Well,
Which I think they would not mind.
yeah,
that.
I think they don't really care.
At least she gets a party this way.
Yeah, I know, right? Go out with a bang. We'll get to this in predictions, but I didn't even think about that we would see the party. Like, I was like, oh, they're just throwing a party, but maybe that's next episode. So then we go back to Mary, Bash, and the baby, to which I say I thought Bash was gonna be a DILF for a second. I was like, yeah. But they end up giving it away to a wet nurse to kind of secret the baby away. We see the mark that they put on the baby's foot. So I have a feeling that might come back. Maybe later. I don't know.
I think it will absolutely come back.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just too big, especially like you didn't have to have the mark, but remember, right? The religion
Yeah.
was reinforced, and if
Yeah.
that's as you talked about, if that's your only sort of lineage through this child, and despite her being a female, it's like, all right, let me at least make a mark, so you understand where the mother is coming from. But
Yeah.
it's like, this is gonna spell so much trouble.
So much trouble. Yeah, it's gonna come back. It's gonna have to. And so then we get to the burial of Isabel. And so with that, Mary brings flowers.
Well, before we do the
Oh,
burial
yeah.
of Isabel, can
The
we
guard
talk
and
the
the-
guard, the
Oh, yeah,
confrontation
that's right, yeah.
in the castle
Yes.
with
Yeah,
Lord
speaking of-
Hugo.
Yeah, because
Oh,
with the
yes.
baby, I mean, this man is on a mission. He says, "Where's the baby?" I don't know. This is how I found her, and then subtly, Sebastian puts him in his place.
In a great way. Like he's like, oh, the queen needs some company, and do you know about anybody?
I
He
loved
takes that step forward.
Yeah.
Even though he's shorter, he was more intimidating.
Well, and I
thought that was
loved
cool.
Mary's face in the background. Mary's like, "Yeah, that's my man. I taught him well."
I'm about to make out with him.
Team Bash over there.
Well, and I think she's
It's hard
only
not to
hopes
be.
that she's encouraging him and like trying to point him in the right direction, because she understands that he was not raised in the idea of becoming a king.
Right.
So I think it's kind of a proud mama moment for Mary. Like,
Yeah.
I done good.
And
Look
and
good.
really, yeah, that was his coming. That was his
Coming
coming
of
into his own.
Age.
Yeah.
Coming of king.
Coming of his kingliness, and he is a man, but now we can see that he could be king.
Ironically, unlike Francis, right? Everyone doesn't think that Francis can rule, and Francis has been raised to do this.
Yeah.
Right.
And Sebastian, yes, I think looking at all of his skills in the woods and things like that, he's got what it takes to be a leader. If you said like, hey, which one could rule France, I'm like, that guy. He seems more, crafty and whatnot.
He has more life skills.
Do you know what I just noticed or realized too was that in this scene and in this conversation is the first time Bash doesn't puts his title and who he is supposed to be before who he is and who his family. He
in
completely
the scene with Hugo, or
yeah, he calls his cousin she is a thief, she's laying there dead, and he's like, I killed her. Mary mentions it I know that was hard for you, but that's the first time Bash has ever had to do that.
Right.
That's and it's all this. It's these steps towards like we've been seeing with the episode. What we're seeing or with the season is that Francis and Bash start on these kind of two opposite ends, and they've been working themselves towards the center, which is where Mary is. And now they've kind of crossed, and now I'm sure we're gonna see Francis kind of heading towards where Bash was at the beginning of the season, and vice versa. But okay, so moving on just to the last scene. Mary brings the flowers. Bash is like, no flowers. You don't want to put dead things.
Well, cut
I love
flowers.
that.
Cut flowers.
Yeah,
That's a beautiful ritual.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of cut flowers.
Yeah.
Like I really I love it if somebody would to give me like a plant in a potted thing, but like cut flowers, I'm like, these are just gonna die. I've always kind of been that way.
I usually kill potted plants too.
The tree I have, leaves keep falling.
Like the bamboo, the lucky bamboo.
Those are good.
Well, yeah.
I do not water mine. It is
We'll bring you
blossoming.
succulents, so it's easier.
Oh, I've killed those too. In that big glass bowl thing.
All my orchids gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not a hater of the flowers.
There's just no green thumbs. on this
No green
panel.
thumb. I love flowers. Oh.
Love flowers, sorry.
No. And then so instead, because one final sacrifice for the episode sacrifice, they Bash cuts his hand. They put blood on the soil above her, and so Mary does the same, even though she could have. Not that. I was like, you guys don't have good health care. I don't know why you're like purposefully giving yourself a giant cut like that. It's only gonna get infected.
And sharing, cross contamination.
I'm like, oh.
I just look at it from a standpoint of someone's going to see that. Someone's going to see you walking around like, okay, you're worried about a pagan baby footmark.
Yeah.
You're the queen.
And
You're
all of
gonna
a
have
sudden
a mark.
You have like a blood brother like cut on your hand. Like, when does anybody cut their hand like that except for like some weird ritual?
S&M?
Yeah, like right. Like it doesn't matter. Like that's not the any cut like that is like, all right, something weird happened. Like you're not just gonna get a cut like that on your hand.
Although you
Right.
could blame Catherine.
That's true too.
Let's figure out that.
She'd be
Let's
like,
figure out a way.
Like,
She
hey,
cut
Catherine,
me.
talk to the hand. And so then we get to the big moment of the episode. Their first.
That Phil ruined for us.
I
Yeah.
know. Did you see that?
Did you see the kiss?
Yeah, like we're like 10 minutes from the episode, like end of the episode. He's like, "Did you see the kiss?" We're like, "No, you literally just watched this." And so they kiss in a weird bloody hand kiss.
How did you guys? I mean, okay. How did you feel about that? Because it's one thing. First off, they're over a grave, so okay, pardon that. But then the blood on the face.
That was weird.
I kind of wanted to know what I should do with my boner. Like I was so.
Blood and
We have a guest.
good to know.
You can't just talk about your boner every week.
B&B.
No, it was
A new meaning for B&B.
Yeah, right? No, it was like it was real weird. It was like, okay, this is not a sexy moment, but all right, go for it,
But
guys.
I'm telling you, their kisses are so much hotter than when like Mary and Francis kiss. Gosh,
all right,
Bash.
you're sounding more and more Team
Yeah.
Bash.
No, I am so
I
hot for
forgot.
Bash. I am so hot for Bash, but I think I can't. But I think
That's why
Francis
you're
is
Team
better for
Francis.
Mary. Well, yes, I
All
want
right,
Bash for myself. No,
She may be the new cast member coming in, the new lady.
I know. Hashtag Keetin on Reign. Hashtag Keetin on Reign.
Get it started, guys.
Get Keetin on Reign, guys.
Keetin.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we talked about the entire episode. Overall feelings. Did you guys think this was a great episode? Like an amazing
I don't
episode?
think Reigns had a bad episode. Mm-hmm. No, I really don't. And I mean, was it, if now in the 10 episodes I had to pick a favorite, was this my absolute favorite? No, I think for me that was when, the stormtroopers came in the castle episode.
That was a good episode.
And this one was much more simplified, but I think you said it brought Mary and Bash together, as it should have.
I mean, coming off of last week's episode, which as we raved
So
about,
good.
and it was one of the best episodes I've seen on any CW show I've ever watched. I thought it was brilliant. But yeah, I thought this episode was much slower, but it still made me happy, and it did what it was supposed to do, which it was supposed to give that bonding moment to Bash and Mary, and
But so many times we talk about it felt like a filler episode. This was not.
it did not feel. No, it didn't feel like a filler.
Definitely
No,
not
no, it
filler.
did not feel filler.
How about you?
I feel like there's new information that we got. It also, I think, gave us the opportunity to question whether or not. I think the thing that's coming up for me really is whether or not you can have love and have the power in the kingdom. And I will argue, because we said that royals can't marry for love. Historically, Queen Victoria and Prince Albert were in love.
know.
That was true love. And I actually believe Queen Elizabeth. There's some love there. I'm just thinking.
No,
yeah.
it's just that seems to be the thesis of the show, and like just that you have to choose. Like, this show is very much about choice. And so in terms of the episodes, I agree that the Stormtrooper episode, like, that was such a good episode. But I also feel like last week's episode, they did so much in last week's episode. From where they start at that episode to where they end, it's like, it's crazy. Everything flips. Whereas this one, it gets the two of them. Without Francis there and without Henry there, we're able to see Bash and Mary. This is a Bash and Mary story, and then we're able to see Catherine and the girls, and it felt very more like it was just more of that female energy in this episode. That like the more conniving, and they don't even try to hide that Catherine's the one behind, like it's apparent from the beginning, and it's like, yeah, she's like, yeah, I tried to kill him, my bad. But I thought this was an excellent episode, definitely not a filler. I think it sets up, the next couple of episodes. Speaking of which, should we get into what we think is going to happen next?
Wait, what are your overall?
Oh, well, I actually think I think we talk about choice. I think it's actually saying, Bash, you see him make the choice. Because Marriott, when we're there, I forget where exactly, but she says, I want you to be able to make a choice about this, whether or not you're actually come. And you see, he doesn't necessarily say it, but he takes the action when he steps up to Hugo. And he's like, look, you could be the company of Catherine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that Bash would make an excellent king. History tells us otherwise, but
This show is not adhering to history, so who knows what will happen.
Right, and I would like to point out that they did mention, I think, what will end up being some sort of big bad again in this episode, which is the god or the person that the beast in the woods, exactly, which will definitely at some point come into play for the rest of the season.
Do you know what I really loved about the episode? It really showed that the men may hold the power, but the women control everything.
Interesting. Yeah, but as we saw in the preview for next week, the men also hold the axe for the beheadings.
Oh. Some might call that power.
Okay, so
Predictions?
Predictions.
Let's do it.
I'm not good at these predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Next week, I mean, it's really Mary versus Catherine. And in last episode, we thought we were going to get some sort of mutual understanding between the two. But no, that's gone out the window. I was hoping for it, actually, but, lo and behold, Catherine is almost going to be beheaded.
Yeah,
I don't know.
They can't get rid of her.
No.
She's the best part about this show, besides the costumes.
Those are strong words.
I love Catherine. I just love her.
How far will it go? Do you think it's going to be literally we're ready to do it, and she comes up with a last minute save?
I think Mary's going to save her. I think Mary will be the one who says, no, absolutely not. I will not marry your son. I will not take England for you, Henry, if you kill Catherine. I do not think she's going to let them kill Catherine.
I like that. I like that a lot. I know that we have spoken before about the parallels with this in Game of Thrones. So just tossing up, because we've talked about Catherine versus Cersei.
Right.
Because you watch, the discussion of who you like more between those two, because they're both kind of that same role of, the queen that will do anything for their
This is what happens when I leave. You guys get into Game of Thrones.
Well,
I've never seen Game of Thrones. I don't know.
Oh.
So I'm like, what are you guys talking about?
I think Catherine is more. Catherine is.
Game
You
of
can
Thrones.
have empathy for Catherine. You can't have empathy for Cersei. But I still love her.
Oh,
How do you feel?
I Game of Thrones.
You
Cersei,
love you some Cersei?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can love to hate Cersei more
That's
than
true.
Catherine, but I feel more sorry for Catherine than Cersei.
I love them equally, but for different reasons.
Yeah.
But they're kind of the same role in the two shows. Okay, any predictions
What
for
if they
yourself?
meet up? That'd be interesting.
Oh, there's got to be
possible.
some. There's
Are you
got to be some
kidding me?
fanfic out
Lannister will kick her
Ah.
butt.
there. Like, yeah.
I'm not good for
transition
predictions.
into
I
the Game
have
of
no
Thrones.
clue.
No,
no clue?
predictions.
No, yeah.
All right.
Well, do you have any
Prediction
predictions
game.
before we get into kind of
talking
talking to Latarsha?
yeah. In terms of predictions, I think that you're really on point. That story-wise, it makes sense for something to happen that Mary is the one that stops. Like, I think even for Francis, like Mary will be the one that stop Catherine from being beheaded. I think that we're gonna see Nostradamus is still alive. Because I just love his voice, and I hope that he's still alive.
Clarissa isn't going to interact with Catherine.
Yes.
Which I
Yeah,
cannot wait because
that's
I
what
feel
I'm
like that's
excited
going to
about.
reveal a lot about who she
Clarissa.
is.
Yeah, and I definitely think by the end of the season we'll know who Clarissa is, what her connection is with Hotstradamus, and
Is he allowed to die? He's the voiceover guy at the
Yeah,
beginning.
that's what I said
No,
last
yeah.
week. I said he can't die.
but like okay, well, my prediction last
Long
week
may
is that he
she
will
reign.
and he'll come back, but like he won't be able to talk because he got stabbed in the throat.
Do you guys ever see 101 Dalmatians? Mm-hmm. You know the guy who's who like does the taxidermy of the animals that Cruella de Vil hires
Yeah.
to kill all the puppies. He like can't talk. He's always like,
Oh, he has the thing.
That's what that reminds me of.
Wait, is that the
Forrest and
is that the
Jasper
live
go to
action?
him.
Live action.
Yeah, the
Okay.
live action one.
All right.
I'm so sorry. If anybody else gets that reference, come on, come on.
I actually don't really remember. I know I've seen them both, but it's been a while. Maybe Glenn Close. That's probably.
You gotta love it. They're actually
something
making a
to-
Cruella de Vil movie. They're really getting into the villain,
Oh,
the
yeah,
Disney
like
villains, and
Maleficent.
Maleficent.
Yeah.
And Glenn Close, I believe, is gonna
Wow.
be doing Cruella de Vil again.
Really
Albert
good
Nobbs
villain.
herself.
What?
She played a
Yes.
well, Albert.
Amazing.
I know, yeah,
I was there.
Yeah. Okay.
I saw
All
it.
right. All right, yeah.
She should have won, but
Yeah, I
I'm
thought
just
so
saying.
too. I thought so too.
Oscar.
All right. Speaking.
Oh,
of
and
acting-
follow up.
Ooh, yeah.
Polyandry. That is the reverse Sister Wives.
Oh,
When a woman has
polyandry.
more than
Polyandry.
one husband. Yeah, husbandry is
Okay,
pretty
yeah.
you know, like
Yeah,
I'm all for
the
this movement.
Andries.
Wait, no, wait. Am I? No.
No.
No, this is not the movement I'm for.
No, you're for Sister Wives.
That's it.
All right.
I missed
Okay.
this week's episode, sorry.
No.
Things to catch up
Thank
on. My
you.
Nashville and my Sister Wives. Oh.
So how are you doing? What are you working on? What are you up to?
Well, I just finished working on an independent film, which was set in the 60s and period, which I love. That was fun. It's being produced by Salvador Carrasco and Ann Spielberg, and that is a really exciting piece about a woman who's dealing with domestic violence and racial violence.
Awesome.
When does it come
Quite
out?
fascinating. Not sure. They're going to do the festival run, so that was really quite an interesting, intense piece. I got injured, bruises, hurt. There's a lot of
Did you shoot that here, or were you
shot
on
that here.
Okay, cool.
Throughout California, Whittier and Long Beach and places all over. So that was interesting. And we are in our season right now of Being Mary Jane, which has been really exciting.
We also
Yeah.
cover the after show here. Check out.
Check it out.
It's
Yeah.
kind of intense. People were really upset because we had reruns because of State of the Union, but
And we found out she's a Nashville fan, so we're gonna have to get her out on the Nashville show.
I'm so disappointed when it's over, the hour's over. I want another hour.
Yeah. That's how.
That's how I feel about Rain.
That's how I feel about Rain. That's how I feel about
The
most
shows that you're
shows.
into, yeah.
I wanted to ask you this question. I
Yes.
read in one of your bios that you were almost gonna quit acting,
Oh yeah.
and then you got the role of Portia. Like,
Oh yeah, actually, that happened for this as well.
How
Yeah.
can you quitting?
Well, it's just you hit the wall and you're just like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. I want to, go do something else. Especially this wasn't the original plan. Yeah, it was interesting. Things were really quiet, and I had auditioned for it 4 months prior.
Oh, wow.
And then I get a call from both my agent and my manager at the same time, and I'm like, what's this about? And then got the great news, and that was an amazing, awesome, wonderful experience. And
Where did that shoot?
That shot in North Carolina.
North Kakalaki, that's where I'm from. Chapel Hill.
Beautiful state, and a lot of beautiful cities there. So that was awesome. And then I actually was deciding to leave the business right before I got Being Mary Jane, which was another process of months and months, and then you hear that you got something. So
That's crazy.
Well-
And will we see you in the because I know Portia, so you weren't in Catching Fire,
books.
but in the books she was in Catching Fire, and in the book she was also in the third one, but we just hear about her. She gets killed by President Snow.
Spoiler.
Well,
well, she's a fan of the books.
yeah, I'm sure a lot of Reign fans are
Absolute
fans of
fan.
the book. So do you think they might call you back for that one, or do you
Well,
know?
we'll have to wait and see.
Well,
you never, we'll have to wait and see.
I'll have to wait and see.
Gotta love those NDAs.
I love it.
I mean, they trained me. I was well trained with the NDAs with the Hunger Games.
Oh yeah, no, I can imagine.
Amazing fan base.
Oh, I can. I
They are
can.
no joke. Honest to goodness God.
Well, I was gonna ask, like, in terms of working on the Hunger Games, what was, I don't know, something super fun that you weren't expecting, or just something really cool that just thinking
The
back on that.
downtime of hanging out with the cast.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Who's the most fun?
It was just, it's really chill. They were actually, sometimes you think you're working with all these big names and celebrities, and they were just down-to-earth people who were really just,
Normal people.
yeah.
They're just doing their job. You guys are just going to work every day.
And it was fun.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
There was some singing, some dancing, and all that other good stuff. And
Does Jennifer Lawrence really say all the crazy things that she says in interviews? That's
She
so
is
charming
just-
and just sweet.
yeah, she made sure that Gary Ross saw me because I had really intense eyelashes that were actually made out of lace that they put on my face.
Oh, that's-
and she looked, and Gary sort of wasn't really paying attention, and she goes, "Gary, did you see Latarsha's eyelashes?" And I was like, "Oh, that was so." She's like, "That looks really amazing," and I was like, "Oh, thanks." But she really is. She asks questions. She's very honest and shoots from the hip.
She's the internet's best friend.
She is.
everybody loves her. And
I want to
she seems really
do a
cool.
shout out to V. Neil, who I know was the makeup,
V.
the
Neil
makeup
and
artist.
Lenny Kravitz and Woody Harrelson, really just down to earth, funny, cool people. It was a really good team to work with. For
That's
my first
awesome.
film, it was amazing. I was like, oh,
That was your first
okay.
film too?
Yeah.
Oh, no big deal.
Girl,
Her first
and-
film was Hunger Games.
NBG on those NDAs.
Yeah.
Jeez. Oh, that's
they were
awesome.
it was amazing.
How long were you in North Carolina shooting?
I was there for probably maybe 3 weeks to a month total, back and forth a couple of times. So, yeah.
Well, you're gonna have to let us know when this indie film when we can check it out.
Yeah.
So
Are you planning on quitting so that you can get another job?
yeah,
I know. I know.
Maybe that's your thing.
Well, that's what I'm done. I don't know what to do. I literally was twiddling my thumbs, and I didn't know what to do, and I accidentally became blonde, and I think 'cause I didn't know what to do.
That's actually happened to me twice.
I'm in between. I'm in between. So really,
yeah, I've been blonde twice.
I've shaved my head twice.
Oh,
So I was gonna
really?
go. I was gonna
Yeah.
do a third
Yeah.
head shaving,
Yeah.
but I don't know if the producers of Being Mary Jane would really be down for that. So
Oh, they
That's
could
why I
wig
got
you.
into
and then
weave,
switched to
like-
that.
Well, and yeah, I don't know. That sounds really awesome. Like
That's so
all of it.
exciting. And how many? So Being Mary Jane. When does that season wrap up?
We are up to episode 3. Episode 4 is next Tuesday, 10 o'clock, and we have 5 more episodes. We had a season of 8 this year.
Awesome. And you guys picked up for another season? Do you know yet?
We'll have to wait and see.
I mean, I gotta imagine with the fan response, especially
It's
just
been
even
crazy.
bump the State of the Union, put on Mary Jane.
Just the dialogue, the debates, people that have really, really strong opinions about it.
That's
About
awesome.
what's happening.
I mean, that's what you want,
And it's BET's first scripted drama,
first
right?
scripted 1-hour drama.
That's
Amara
awesome.
and Salim have been amazing, really good writing, and the talent working with Gabrielle. She's just
An
she's been there.
institution.
Yeah, absolutely. She's just knows stuff. She's carrying the whole thing. And then Lisa Vidal and Richard Roundtree, Sir Shaft, and then Rich Brooks, and just everyone who makes up the family. It's fun going to work.
That's awesome.
It's
that's
fun.
all you. That's all you
I've
can
been
ask for.
fortunate of every job I've had. I've really enjoyed.
That's awesome. That means
That's
you're
so
doing
fun.
what you're meant to be doing.
Yeah. I mean, clearly you keep trying to do something else and it just pulls you back in. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing. And I will just say, I know that we're one host down, so if you have downtime, you're more than welcome to come back and
Please
join us
come
here.
back to Reign.
It
This
was
was
so
really
much
nice.
fun.
Yeah.
Quite
official.
Yeah, we invited you off the couch to the
NFL what? Got the AFTERBUZZ post-game wrap-up.
right?
Exactly. So where can we find you to keep following you and your adventures through acting and all your wonderful
I
successes?
guess Instagram and Twitter.
Nice. Your
Latarsha
handles?
Rose.
What is
Latarsha Rose.
Nice.
Latarsha Rose.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool.
Well, thank you so much for
Thank
being
you for
here,
having me.
and thanks everybody for tuning in. Where can we find you?
You can find me on Insta and Twitter at Ian Weslynn,
Technical
and look for my web series Day Drunk Gaze to be coming out in about a week.
And Phil, where can we find you?
Follow us here at AfterBuzz TV on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
And you guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at KeetinM33. It's been great.
It's been great.
Thanks for joining, you guys.
Fun.
Look, almost 60
Almost
minutes exactly.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Yes.
Later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.